Do you think that cops really feel it's necessary for Trump to kiss their ass, give up the election, to lose it to Kamala? Like, if cops are really Trump supporters, which I don't know, like they might be Kamala supporters because Kamala is the top cop. Kamala, if you want blanket immunity, if you want like hard on crime, uh, if you want hard on crime laws, like wouldn't you go for Kamala? Like it's people who aren't saying anything sometimes you got to check into, you know, like when they normally would weigh in but they're suddenly silent, you know. And Trump isn't saying anything about the assassination of Sandy Massey, right? People, oh, that's no surprise because he's a racist or whatever like that. But if everything you know is cudgeled and dialectical and being exploited, then you can't even lend too much to and what intent must mean, because it's kind of deflating. Also, because the opposite of a negative isn't necessarily a positive, and the opposite of a positive isn't necessarily a negative, and so I have to keep reiterating that before you can look at the fact that just because it seemed like they're enemies, that they wouldn't be work together. You know what I mean? It's when there's an election going on that they don't like each other. When it's not, then they're cool. You know what I mean? I love Julian Assange. You know what I mean? Then fucking don't pardon Julian Assange. Pardon Kodak Black instead. So does that mean that Trump is hard on drugs, crime legislation, and sitting on exculpatory evidence that could free innocent people, and keeping non-violent offending drug crimes in prison, you know, longer than some people who did like caused massive bodily injuries to people and things like that. There's people that beat their wife half to death and get out before you. So I'm going to get emotional, tied and attached to somebody because they are the enemy of my enemies, and my friend wants to be cool with my enemy. I know that Trump isn't a fucking answer to everything. It's just that there's nothing wrong with supporting him. I can't say that about any of the people. There's something wrong with supporting Bernie, because you know that Bernie is going to get, he's going to cower, and he's going to still raise money, and he's going to continue to, you know, it's like, or whatever, like I can't even say continue because you know what he's about. Like if you know what he's about, then you don't want him to continue. So this is how you talk about them. So they try to gear the conversation around in a way that lends credence to something you don't even believe, like the failure of the Secret Service to protect or something. Like, really, failure to protect? How do we know that this is what they're failing to do? I thought that they were failing to take him out. I'm not the one that wants him out the way. Why don't these people stop talking to me like I'm fucking born yesterday? But that's something that if it comes down to it, don't help them when they're in trouble, because they're going to be talking to you like this, like that, you know, like a child. Like they're going to be talking to you like a condescending, like you're have low intelligence IQ or something. Is that what this is about? Like a high IQ president would not just say blanket immunity for the police. He wouldn't do that unless he's trying to forfeit. Then he's giving up, and I've seen him do that. They do that every time. People that are progressive, like my mother, don't believe me that the Republicans will they will forfeit all the time. It's like almost like, what's the point? Or you tell someone that like they'll forfeit, and it's like, no, they would never. You know what I mean? They would never do that. But if they're working together, then it keeps that stability is worth more than whatever represents stability in our eyes. So then they'll cater to that. I mean, it makes sense now. But whenever there's a precedent to pull the wool over our eyes or shake us upside down or something people want to imagine that's no longer a possibility, something that's always been going on, all of a sudden becomes impossible.